It was a warm, sunny day. In fact, a perfect day to go for camping. Suddenly, an idea stuck. I decided that I could do a friends reunion. Oh, how long it is since I met my friends. As I thought, I decided that we could go for a camping, since it was a perfect day. My friends agreed. A strange feeling came to me. Something inside told me that this trip was gonna be an adventurous trip. Little did we know what was gonna happen next. As soon as I met my friends, I was speechless. Seeing them after a long time, the only thing I could do was to shed the tears of joy. After many hugs and cry, we were planning a good spot for camping. We all knew where we wanted to go. Of course, it was the Ooty. We reached Ooty about in the afternoon, and the rest we did was that. After all, what else we could do? By then it was night. As we were sleeping under the sky, we were staring at the beautiful star. Suddenly, something like a shooting star, no, something like a ball of fire, speeded up and was straight into the forest. We all were panicked and didn't know what to do.
I think it is better if we go and check it out.
No, what if it's a meteor? I have heard that you must never go near a meteor, no touch it.
Oh, Pretty and her space.
I think it's better if we go and check it out. Who knows if the thing crashed would be a plane.
We go deeper and deeper into the forest. All of us are scared at the same time excited. The next sight that we saw was unbelievable. It was a UFO. As we were examining it, suddenly the door opened.
Oh my god. I knew it was gonna be bad. We all are doomed. We all are gonna die.
Oof, will you please be quiet for a minute?
I knew this trip was gonna be exciting.
This is the worst trip ever.
Oh my god.
It's an alien.
Ha! I knew it! I knew aliens exist, but didn't have any proof. Today is the best day.
But you said this day was the worst day.
Scary cat.
Let us go and meet this new creature.
Yeah.
Hello, Earthlings. I am Java from Mars. My spaceship has some problem. The engine has been damaged. It will almost take 1 week to get repaired, so please consider me as your friend.
Wow, you're from Mars? That's incredible.
Yeah, you're right.
Will you please help me repair my spaceship?
Of course, if you will tell us more about your planet.
Of
Of
course.
course.
We all start repairing. Pretty, Mitwa, and the alien start explaining about their planets. The alien notices a plant and went forward to touch it. As he touched, by mistake, he plucked off the leaf.
I am so sorry, Matu and Preeti. I didn't mean to.
It's okay. And my name is Nitwa, not Matwa.
And my name is Pretty.
Oh, okay. I broke a part of a plant and yet they didn't punish me. How strange.
1 week later.
Thank you, friends, for repairing my spaceship. I really appreciate it.
Nah, it was a piece of cake.
Alien decides to take a walk in the forest. As he walked, he saw the same plant whose leaf he had damaged. To his surprise, a small leaf was growing from the part the previous leaf got detached. He ran and called Mitwa and asked her how it grew back again.
Yes, of course, we will surely explain it to you. First, Angela will start talking on the meristematic tissues.
Meristematic tissues or meristems. These tissues grow in a specific region in a specific place. All this because of the dividing tissues. and it has a specific type of character when they are newly. And when they grow up, their characters start changing into differentiation of other components of other tissues. And this has almost oval and almost rounded shape, that type of shape it has, and it is a living cell too. That's why it start dividing and all, and it is in a smaller size and has a high capacity for cell division. These meristematic tissues are three types: apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. Let's see what all these meristems help in and how does it give functions to the plant, how does it help in growth of the plant, and where it's located. First of all, apical meristem. This apical meristem is located in the tip of the roots and the tip of the stems. This helps in the growth of the root and the stem, and it also gives length to the root and the stem. Let me give you one example. Take 2 onions, keep it in a glass, pour water to, and keep it for growing for 1 week. You will observe that the roots will start growing. Cut one of the onion's root and again keep it for growing with the other still. Then after some days, you will again observe that the other uncutted root will still be growing and this cutted root will not be growing, right? It's why. Yes, it's all just because of apical meristem.
Lateral meristem. The girth of the stem or root increases due to lateral meristem. Lateral meristem is also known as cambium. It is located in the stems and the roots on the lateral side of the plant. It increases the thickness or the girth of the plant.
Intercalary meristem. The girth of stem or roots increases due to the lateral meristem. As the name itself says, intercalary, it is located below the internodes.
Permanent tissue. What happens to the cells that is formed by the meristematic tissue? So this meristematic tissue, they will take up a specific role and then later they will lose the ability to divide. So as a result, they form into a permanent tissue. The process of taking off permanent shape, size, and function is called as differentiation. The cells of the meristematic tissue, they differentiate to form different types of permanent tissue. So this meristematic tissue, they will lose its ability to divide after some time. So when they lose the ability to divide, later they will form into a permanent tissue. So now there are two kinds of permanent tissue. One is simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue, they're only made up of one kind of cells. They're only made up of one kind of cells. Simple permanent tissue, they're again divided into three types. They are parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Now we'll be discussing about parenchyma. So what is parenchyma? So parenchyma is the tissue that forms, that is the most common tissue that is found in a plant, and that is parenchyma. So what is the characteristic features or how does this parenchyma cells look? So they are unspecialized cells with thin cell walls. They are living cells and they're loosely packed. That is, they have more intercellular spaces. Now, parenchyma tissue is again divided into three types. There are storage parenchyma, chlorenchyma, and aerenchyma. Storage parenchyma. Storage parenchyma's main function is to store food. That is the thing that stores food. Next is chlorenchyma. Chlorenchyma is made up of chlorophyll plus parenchyma. So chlorenchyma is the tissue that it contains chlorophyll and it is what helps the plant to do photosynthesis. So that is why it's called as chlorenchyma. Now, aerenchyma. In aquatic plants, large air cavities are present in the parenchyma so that it could make the plant float in the water, or else the plant will sink in the water. So in order to make that plant float in water, there are large air cavities are present in it. So this kind of parenchyma is called as aerenchyma. So parenchyma helps the plant to float in water.
Collenchyma. The flexibility in plant is due to another permanent tissue called collenchyma. It allows the bending of various parts of plants like tendrils and stems of climbers without breaking. It also provides mechanical support and flexibility. We can find this tissue in the leaf stalks below the epidermis. The cells of this tissue are living, elongated, and irregularly thickened at the corners, and there are very little intercellular spaces. Sclerenchyma tissues. Their main function is to provide support to the plant. So their cell walls are very thick due to the presence of the substance called lignin. They are found around the vascular bundles and in the hard covering of the seeds and the nuts. They provide strength to the plant.
Epidermis. The epidermis is usually made up of single layer of cells. In some plants living in very dry habitats, the epidermis may be thicker since a protection against water loss in these criteria. Epidermal tissue is flat, has no intercellular space, forms a continuous cells, and the outer and side walls are thicker than the inner walls. It protects all the parts of the plant. Epidermal cells on the aerial parts of the plant often secrete a waxy water-resistant layer on their outer surface. This aids in the protection against loss of water, mechanical injury, and invasion by parasitic fungi. Since it has a protective role to play, cells of the epidermal tissues form a continuous layer without intercellular spaces. Most epidermal cells are relatively flat. Often their outer and side walls are thicker than the inner walls. It has a waxy coating named cutin.
Now, cork. So we all know that the outer layer of the branch of a tree that is very different, that is so much different from the outer layer of a young stem. We know in the tree, the outer layer is very hard, whereas in the plant, when we check out the outer layer of the stem, it is very smooth and it's like delicate. It's like very flexible type. So now, what is cork? As the plant grows older, so we know a plant, it will be growing into a tree. So as that plant, it grows older and older, the outer protective tissue, that will undergo some certain changes. So when those changes happen, a strip of secondary meristem, they will replace the epidermis of the stem. So we all know the outer covering of a plant is epidermis. So as the plants grow older, the outer protective tissue, that is the epidermis, they undergo certain changes. So when they undergo the certain changes, another strip of meristematic secondary meristem, it will replace this epidermis. So then the cells from on the outside, they are cut off and they will form several layers of thick cork or the bark of the tree. This cork is also known as the bark of the tree. So the cells of the cork, they are dead and they are compactly arranged. That is, they are arranged in a very closely, they are closely packed and there is no intercellular spaces. So we all know that the bark of a tree, which is the cork, it provides support to the tree. So anywhere, if it provides support to the tree, so then of course it will be closely arranged. That is, they will be closely arranged without no intercellular spaces. So cork is closely arranged with no intercellular spaces. So this cork, they have a chemical substance called suberin in their walls. So this suberin is a substance that makes them impervious to gases and water. Now, complex permanent tissue. Complex permanent tissue, in the complex permanent tissue, they are made up of more than one type of cells. And all these cells, they coordinate together to perform a common function. So that is complex permanent tissue.
And I will be telling about phloem. Phloem is a living tissue. It is made up of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. The main function of phloem is for translocation or food conduction. So, sieve tubes. Sieve tubes lack nucleus. They have thin cell walls which are perforated, and they are living cells and also known as the conducting elements. Next is companion cells. Companion cells, as the name suggests, accompanies sieve tubes. Since sieve tubes lack nucleus, the nucleus of companion cells controls the sieve tubes. Sieve tubes are controlled by the nucleus of companion cells. And companion cells help in the load and unload of particles, for example, sugar particles. Next is phloem parenchyma. Like parenchyma, you already know what a parenchyma does. Parenchyma helps in the storage of food or particles. So that is exactly what phloem parenchyma also does. So it helps in the storage and it is a living part of the cell. Next is phloem fibers. Phloem fibers are dead cells and they are dead and they give mechanical support. So the cell walls are lignified and they are the only dead cells in this tissue. And phloem parenchyma along with phloem fibers are known as the associated elements.
Xylem. Xylem is an example for complex tissues. Xylem and phloem are both conducting tissues and constitute a vascular bundle. Xylem transports water upward due to the transpirational pull. Xylem consists of four elements. Xylem tracheids. They are narrow and lignified. They have uneven thickening that forms the pits and also tapering ends. It transports water vertically. Xylem vessels. They are lignified and has hollow lumen. It also transports water vertically. Xylem fibers. They are also lignified, but lumen is absent. It provides mechanical support. Xylem parenchyma. It transports water in horizontal direction and stores food. Except xylem parenchyma, all have mostly dead cells. Now the alien understood the secret of growth and life of plants. It was time for him to say goodbye, and he thanked and left. And we hope you too understood the secret of growth and life of plants. Thank you.